everyone, Ian Bailey back here, and thank you so much for watching. Today I would describe myself, if I was filling out a survey, I would describe my emotions as excited. And the reason why is because something has arrived at Ian Bailey HQ, and we're currently in the lair of the den, and I want to tell you about a new product from a friend of mine. He sent this to me to review. It's going to be hard for me to be unbiased during this review, and the reason why is because this man is, I would describe as a good friend. Whether he would say the same, I'm not sure. But it is actually a new effect by the man called Chris Rawlins. Now, this man, famous, I would say, for mentalism products. And then recently, I would say probably about 2 years, hopefully that's factually correct, but 2 years ago, he brought out an effect that took the world by storm, right? This was a magic trick involving keys. And of course, I'm talking about hide a key. An excellent effect where basically you show 3 keys on your keychain, and the middle one, as you just rock it and let it fall, the middle one completely vanishes. You can show very cleanly that there's now only 2 keys on the keychain, and then suddenly that key has now appeared anywhere. It could be on the shelf, it could be in their pocket, it could be anywhere. This effect was amazing, right? Loads of people were buying it at Blackpool. I think 2 years ago, if I remember rightly, 2 years ago, he was basically doing a pre-sale. He didn't have any units with him, but he was saying, look, this is the effect. If you like it, I'm going to be sending it out in a couple of weeks. And loads of people basically bought this straight away. It's an excellent trick. I think everyone has kind of thought about the idea of making this gimmick, but no one was brave enough to really put the money in and do it. Having said that, one man did do it, called Paul Wilson. He brought it out many years ago, and Chris is the only one who actually got permission from Paul to re-release it under him, and so Hide a Key came out. Now, if you owned Hide a Key, you would have had a lot of fun with it. You would have had a lot of mileage with it, I'm sure. However, just like I'm sure Chris thought at the same time, he was probably thinking, you know, if that key that disappeared was a different colour, then maybe that might elevate it even more. A little history lesson, kind of about a year after Hide a Key came out, Tom Elderfield and Hanson Chen released Scotch and Whiskey, a brilliant effect once again, along a very similar line. However, it had the silver and copper or gold key, right? This meant everything opened up. You can now do very similar routines to Greg Wilson's free key, and then also finish with a vanish and making it appear, etc., etc. Now, I owned both. I owned the original Hide a Key. I also owned Scotch and Whiskey, and there was something that annoyed me about Scotch and Whiskey. Okay, this is with no disrespect to the creators. I didn't like the magnetic closing, right? I think it was sold as an advantage. I think people believed the advantage and they thought, that means I can hand out the keys to be examined. In my opinion, handing those keys out to be examined, people would then realise that these aren't really real keys, right? The edges are smooth, right? They're not kind of like real sharp, jagged edges. It looks like a traditional house key. However, the edges are kind of slightly soft, right? And it didn't really, in my opinion, look like it was actually going to be unlocking anything. Not only that, but the magnetic closing, I'm not going to hand that key out because of the reasons I've just mentioned. The second thing is that the magnetic closing, although it sounded like a great idea, meant that when you wanted to get ready and perform this, you had to unlink the gimmick, hold it in a position that was ready to perform, and then go and perform it, right? So you wouldn't really want to do the unlocking in front of people because they'd be thinking, what's he fiddling about with there? Which meant you kind of had to be ready and kind of linger in that position for a while. You couldn't really display them so cleanly because you had to be in a certain position to then close it. And so I did something drastic. And that was, let me get this ready off camera for you. That was, I actually removed the magnet, which allowed me to do this, to show the 2 keys, right? So you've got the copper, silver. I wanted to be able to let it dangle and let that key disappear, just like so. That is the thing that sold hide a key for me, was that 2 key display and letting it fall and then seeing the vanish. You couldn't really do that freely with Scotch and whiskey. So those were the issues, right? I took apart a $100 gimmick and removed the magnets because I wanted this, which I'm about to show you now. And I have to say thank you to Chris for sending this to me. I think I'm the only one who's kind of officially reviewing it ahead of the release. And this, ladies and gentlemen, after all that big kind of introduction, is Hide a Key Plus. Let's take a look. So this is the small box that you're going to receive. Chris is a genius when it comes to minimal shipping, which means that basically the packaging is so small it's not going to cost you a fortune if you're ordering this from overseas. Very, very lightweight little box here. And this is Hide a Key Plus. And what Chris has done is he's listened to a lot of the people who kind of loved Scotch and whiskey and loved Hide a Key, and he's brought out Hide a Key Plus. And you'll notice straight away there is a difference. So we've gone with the waffle design on the copper key and an extremely shiny, smooth key on the chrome here. So having that really different view, as opposed to, if I was to show you the Scotch and whiskey one, you would see that they've tried to do the similar thing here. And I have to apologise for constantly comparing these, but we're going to have to. I'm going to have to kind of, hopefully I won't upset anyone in this review, but I'm going to have to compare the two. So they've, on Scotch and whiskey, you've got the kind of a more traditional UK house key in its design. But like I said, it's not really, the gimmick especially is kind of meant to look jagged, but isn't jagged, right? And they've gone for the waffle design on the kind of the gimmick portion, and then a smooth one here. But they're both kind of shiny in their design, whilst this one is actually a lot more matte in its finish on the copper key, and extremely shiny on the gimmick. I think what I like about Hide a Key is that the key design isn't like anything that you would traditionally find in the UK in kind of like in terms of a normal house key, which makes it look like it's a gym locker key or something like that, which means that you can't really compare it to something that you're familiar with, right? So the fact that the indentations on the key or the teeth on the key are smooth, it actually doesn't matter at all, because it makes it think, oh, okay, well, that's just a unique key design that, I haven't seen. And so when you look at it, you're not immediately thinking, oh, okay, there's something different about that key compared to the one that's on my key. It's the genius of the design, I think, allows you to get away with a lot more. So that's very nice contrast between the copper here of the matte design compared to the kind of shiny chrome. Also, extremely thin and lightweight. What's interesting about this is that when I picked up Hide a Key, I thought, oh, this gimmick is a lot thinner than Scotch and whiskey. But actually, there's probably only literally either a millimetre between the two. But that millimetre does make a lot of difference. So if I was to hold up both of these together, I'm going to try and move out of the way for you here. This is the thickness, right? Now, there's actually really not much in it. Okay, not any regard that is noticeable. However, once again, something about this design of key makes it feel and look a lot thinner than what it really is. They boasted, kind of a certain thickness. I'll put the thickness down here on the ad copy for Scotch and whiskey. However, it still feels slightly thicker than a normal UK key. And once again, the fact that this is quite a unique design of key just makes it uncomparable. Uncomparable? Let you decide in the comments below. But you're not going to compare it to another key in that respect. I think it's really, really good. I really like this. I think a lot of people have been waiting for this for a long, long time. One thing I would say that I like about Scotch and whiskey is that you get this lovely key ring, all right? I wouldn't necessarily choose the key effect based on the key ring, but if you know me, you know I like kind of certain accessories for your keys. I like to, when I'm performing, actually perform with this Mont Blanc one. I've had this for years, and this has a really nice opener here which allows you to put the keys on. And the good thing as well about that is that you can also use it for a ring flight as well, which is really nice. So that's what I like to use and carry. But it means that, once again, with Hide a Key, you're able to get into this performance and you're not having to hold everything in a certain way. You can just show very cleanly, let it dangle, and now it's gone, right? And once again, you would normally have another key on the key ring when you do that. Another big advantage, I believe, over Scotch and Whiskey is the fact that Chris actually teaches us a way of showing the keys disappeared, but then giving them the key ring with only 2 keys on in their hand, right? So they're now holding onto it. They can clearly see there's only 2 keys on that key ring. They're holding onto it in their hands. You then take the key, you make it disappear, right? And it's gone, and then it's now back inside their hand. Something you can't do if you are committing to this kind of magnetic closure, right? So I really genuinely believe that this Hide a Key Plus is something that a lot of you have been waiting for. Certainly myself, because I took apart, once again, a $100 gimmick in order to basically achieve what Chris has done. So this has taken a lot of manufacturing. I'm sure it's taking a lot of hard work for him to do this. And one of the big pluses as well of this over Scotch and Whiskey is the price. Scotch and Whiskey was $100 for essentially what you're getting here with the gimmick, the kind of insert gimmick, I should say, as well, and then the spare key that reappears, right? So you're getting that for about $100. I think if Scotch and Whiskey were offering another one where you get additional spare keys if you wanted to kind of swap them out. I never used that. I spent the $150, I think it was, for the deluxe edition and never used those spare keys, but that's just me. But I didn't need those additional spare keys, and neither do you. And so I think you can purchase Hide a Key Plus and you'll be absolutely fine in terms of the routines. There is a real big plus of the price. This is only £60. £60, right? You're getting Hide a Key, all the benefits of Hide a Key, with the benefits of a copper silver gimmick as well. Chris doesn't really go into the differences, like kind of going into a free key type of routine yet. The stuff is put up on YouTube on an unlisted link, so it means that basically he can just keep adding to it and put more routines, which I believe he's going to be doing. But you could do a very similar copper and silver routine like free key that we've all been waiting for free key to come back in stock. So you can do all those copper silver routines, and then you can do that brilliant vanish, and you can also do the reappearance. Once again, you can't do that with the magnetic closure version of this trick. The routines as well are a big plus on here. I think Scotch and Whiskey, there was a couple that were just kind of given, but not really kind of in great detail. But what you get is obviously Hide a Key Plus. Chris is going to give you a brand new routine that he's been working on over the kind of past 2 years with this new version. And there's a lot more kind of like added subtleties, especially to the reappearance of the key on the key ring, which he shared with me at Blackpool, and I'm pleased to see it on the video. A really, really neat little move that allows you just to kind of unlink or kind of unnest the gimmick in your hand without any suspicions. So that's a really nice thing. And then also he uses things like having a list of different magic tricks he can do, and he'll give someone that list and he'll say to them, just pick a number between 1 and 10, and they go, I can know 7. Go to number 7, and what does it say? And it says vanish something. And he goes, okay, right, well, let me use my key. That's probably quite, not really responsible of me, but let's try and make this key disappear. So they're choosing the effect, which I like that new addition. They choose the effect. He's going to make something disappear. He makes it disappear, and now it's reappeared in their pocket. The key that's disappeared off their keychain has reappeared in their pocket, right? He then makes the key disappear, and it's reappeared back on the keychain, and then it's disappeared again, and now it's back in someone else's pocket, right? So he's worked in this brand new routine, which brings together a lot of the different parts from the original into one longer, succinct kind of routine. And also, I believe you get access to the original Hide a Key tutorials as well, which are very, very long in a good way. There's a lot of detail. You've got Noel Quarter on there, you've got Alex Kirk on there. You've also got a separate link that gives you access to Greg Wilson. And Greg has basically, well, he's given you tons of routines in there. But also, a very high compliment of him is the fact that he performs Hide a Key all the time in his professional repertoire. So if that's not a big, you know, kind of rubber stamp or gold stamp. I'm not gonna put him down to a rubber stamp. He deserves gold. All right, that's a good gold star of recognition there. Having Greg say that he performs this and he loves it and he performs it at gigs all the time. So yeah. So really, my conclusion is, if you own Hide a Key and you think, I just wish it was a different colour, I wouldn't think twice about ordering the new set. I think £60 is a very good price for this. And yeah, the updates of what Chris has done with the routine are worth it alone. I would say if you already own Scotch and Whiskey, I would say this: pull it apart and remove the magnets. All right. See how you get on with that. I don't believe the magnetic thing is an advantage, in my opinion. All right, this may go wild in the comments below. All right, but I personally don't like that. So I would say, if you want Hide a Key Plus and you already own Scotch and Whiskey, then maybe try that, give it a go, and if you're brave enough, or just sell it and buy Hide a Key. That might be the more kind of sensible option. But I would recommend just take the magnets out and just give it a go, and you'll see the advantage of being able to have this nice loose display. Much, much better in my opinion. So yes, I would say that if you already own Scotch and Whiskey. If you already own Hide a Key, the original, just buy this one. You're going to be able to do a lot more with it. And if you've never owned either of them, then I would say, what are you doing? And I would say, buy it now is what I would do. So that is my review of Hide a Key Plus. I think it's phenomenal. I really, really am so happy that Chris has kind of listened to a lot of the customers and he's made this kind of final product the last word, in my opinion, on this kind of key gimmick. I'm not saying what the gimmick is, being very, very hidden. Now, where can you buy it? Right, it's £60. Where can you buy it? You can only buy it from Chris's website. I'm going to put the link down here. I'm also going to put the link in the description and the comments section below, so you can click that link. You can only buy it from Chris's website. Wherever you are in the world, Chris's website is the only place you can buy it from. Chris doesn't have social media, right? I admire that, right? That was one of the things that drew me to my wife, is that she didn't have social media. I thought it was intriguing, right? Chris doesn't have social media, yet he's doing extremely well. And the reason why is because he only delivers extremely good products for mentalism, magic, and his reputation goes before him. And so, yeah, well done, Chris. Go on the website, purchase it now. I think it's very, very limited quantity for now. We'll see where it goes from there. But that is my review of Hide a Key Plus. I want to thank you, Chris, once again for sending this to me. And I cannot wait to get off this camera and go out and perform. So thank you very much. I will see you soon.